Welcome to Daily Decades and the Joyful Mysteries of the Holy Rosary. The story of the life and death of Jesus of Nazareth unfolds as you say each decade of Hail Marys throughout the Rosary. As an unending gift, and as a living prayer, the Holy Rosary changes daily as we use these scriptures to learn, remember, and venerate the life of Jesus. The Rosary Mysteries are a powerful tool to utilize and apply to your daily life. Yes, even today in our everyday lives, these mysteries can help us improve ourselves and the world around us. The first set of the Rosary meditations are the Joyful Mysteries. This set of 5 stories celebrate the Blessed Mother Mary, the life story of how Jesus Christ, Son of God, came to be and how he and his mother are remembered. Let's explore each joyous mystery, what they mean as we reflect on the teachings during the decade meditations and how we can apply each and every one to our daily life. The 5 joyful mysteries are the Annunciation, the Visitation, the Nativity, the presentation of Jesus and the finding of Jesus in the temple. The first joyful mystery is the Annunciation of Jesus. This singular transcendental event sets in motion all things. The Archangel Gabriel, messenger of God, descended directly from heaven declaring himself to a young Levite girl named Mary of Nazareth. Gabriel speaks kindly to her and tells Mary that she will be gifted by God a child born of her virgin body to raise. And her child, as the Son of God, would be the Messiah that would change the world. Mary did not run from the luminous being that hailed her by name and said God has graced her and blessed her most upon high. The angel was too real, the angel was too comforting in his message, and the angel was too sincere. Courageous Mary, poor Levite from Nazareth, humbly thanked God for gracing her with this amazing honor. We reflect upon the Annunciation as we say the Our Father before the decade of Hail Marys. As we recite the decade, we are to meditate upon being humble. The glory of God and the hosts of heaven are far beyond our human understanding. If confronted by an angel, would you be able to bow and accept its message? With the strength of humility you could. Focus on being thankful for what you have. We must strive every day to keep our hearts and minds open to God's kingdom and be willing and humble and thankful for everything God offers. The second joyful mystery is the Visitation. This much overlooked, seemingly small event was in actuality a very powerful and empowered women's summit. Mary, a young teenage girl, early in her pregnancy with the baby Jesus, traveled outside her hometown of Nazareth to visit her older cousin, Elizabeth of Judah. Elizabeth had become pregnant, a great joy for her at her age and especially after a lifetime of infertility and desire for children. Mary, eager to share with her cousin her own joy, lived with Elizabeth for 3 months caring for her cousin in her maternity. This story becomes all the more resonant when we realize that Elizabeth of Judah was carrying a child that would become well known to all. The first apostle of Christ, John the Baptist. The unborn child leapt for joy in Elizabeth's womb at Mary's appearance, causing quite a scene and an immediate emotional connection between all cousins. We reflect upon the Visitation while praying the Our Father. As we recite the second decade of Hail Marys, we are to reflect on service to others and how we can expand our concepts of giving. We should focus on how this example of Mary's selfless acts could best influence our lives. Mary's love for family is eternal. As we seek to serve others in the world, we can start at home with our own families. And through our time, our hands-on work and through our love, we can make service to others' life-changing events. The third joyful mystery is the most celebrated and well-known mystery of all. The Blessed Nativity. Mary and her husband, Joseph, had to travel for a government census at the time when Mary was heavily pregnant with Jesus. For this reason, Jesus was born in Bethlehem, not Nazareth, in these same political conditions that would take his life, just 33 years later. Joseph tried but could not find a place to stay when arriving in Bethlehem. Joseph did his best to get Mary anywhere that was safe and off the streets. Little Jesus was born, swaddled, and took his first moments of life in a forgotten place. a lowly place. A place others would deem unworthy of the Son of God. Joseph and Mary did the best they could to protect their newborn infant baby boy in that moment, in the critical days that followed, in all the years of Jesus' life. They fulfilled every prophecy and bent to God's will gracefully, peacefully, unerringly. And they continue, to this day, to be our earthly parents, refusing to leave our side and always holding our hands. We reflect upon the Nativity as we say the Our Father, and as we recite the decade of Hail Marys, we are to celebrate the joy of the newborn Messiah, Jesus Christ. We should also meditate upon charity and poverty. How we can be born with nothing, how we can make something out of nothing, and how no one, not even the King of Kings, the Son of God, is above living and being born into poverty. We should focus on making the best of every situation, trusting in God, and most importantly, focus on never turning your back to someone in need. Always shelter those in need. Always clothe those that are naked. Always love those that are laying beneath you in mud. The fourth joyful mystery is the presentation of Jesus to the temple. Another lesser-known mystery, but one that took great courage on behalf of Mary and Joseph. In accordance to Mosaic law, Mary, as the mother of a newborn son, and having rested the required after childbirth 40 days of penance, was required to present the child to the priests at the temple and pray for atonement. Joseph and Mary traveled from Bethlehem to Jerusalem, and Mary entered the gates of the Holy Temple, placed a coin into the poor man's box, which sufficed in lieu of the required sacrificial animals. And then, she handed her life, the infant Jesus, to the waiting arms of the temple priest. If her atonement and sacrifice weren't acceptable, her son would be rejected by the temple priests. We reflect upon the presentation as we recite the Our Father. During the fourth decade of Hail Marys, we should meditate on obedience and sacrifice to God. We know not His plan and must have faith. We can focus on how we can use obedience and compliance as not weakness, but a source of strength. For in not questioning and in having unwavering belief, we can reap rewards we cannot imagine. Look to Joseph and Mary's example. By taking this critical step in capitulation to the temple law, the couple solidified their standing in the community, which allowed them to own a home, allowed Mary to upbring Jesus in Jewish tradition, and allowed Joseph to have a stable job and the lawful authority to raise Jesus as his son. The fifth joyful mystery is the finding of Jesus in the temple. This mystery is a favorite amongst the faithful because of its parental relatability and also its insight into Jesus' future as a rabbi. When Jesus was 12 years old, he accompanied his family on a Passover pilgrimage to Jerusalem and disappeared on the way home. After realizing Jesus wasn't accounted for, Joseph and Mary started searching for him and asking friends and family to look for him too. 3 days later, Jesus was found, still in Jerusalem, at a large temple. He was with the rabbi teachers engaged in conversations that were seemingly beyond, not only his young age, of 12, but of his religious education altogether. The discussions were very esoteric and astounded all, especially the rabbis, who could not explain how this child could espouse and interpret their laws to them when they were the highest teachers. When his furious, frustrated yet very relieved parents asked what was he doing? Didn't he know they were worried about him? Jesus responded, "But why worry? Did you not know I'd be in my Father's house?" We reflect upon Jesus in the temple as we recite the Our Father. During the fifth decade of Hail Marys, we should meditate on growing our faith and understand with joy the depth of knowledge Jesus was born with. We aren't lucky Jesus of Nazareth was the greatest teacher that ever lived. We were graced with him. This is a most joyful mystery. Mary's frantic 3-day desperate search for her son is a parent's worst fright, yet they searched having faith he would be found. This event confirmed the deep faith their son had for the temple. Jesus was never lost. Mary had to have faith. You too need faith to go forward, to carry on when you feel you have lost. Remember your Father's house. Jesus is waiting there for us, we just need the faith to know, feel it, and rejoice in it. When praying to the Blessed Mother, focus on having faith, having hope, and knowing there will be joy for us in the end at our Father's heavenly home. These are the 5 joyful mysteries.